on tour.
Yep.
Following the band Tool.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And initially, how did that come up?
Well, myself and Nick and Freddie Scott, we are all obsessed with the band Tool. Went to see them in LA. The three of us didn't really know each other that well, if at all, really. And we decided to get dinner before the concert, chatted about it. We were like, oh man, we're all in deep. We all love this band.
Yeah.
And Nick made a joke at some point. He was like, if they announce more dates, we should just follow them, do our shows to make money to buy tickets to see their shows.
Wow.
And we kind of laughed about it. And then when they announced more dates, I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh, this is one of those unique things where even if we make no money and even if, whatever, when we promote this, no one else will be promoting this type of thing.
Of course not.
And so I was like, oh, maybe there's some traction in that.
Yeah.
And so we decided to book some dates, follow them. I went on Conan. He was like, do you have something to promote? And I was like, well, I'm doing this tour. I could announce that.
Yeah.
So I went on and joked about that. The guitarist for the band saw that. He messaged me and he was like, I'll hook up tour passes and you guys can come to the shows and stuff.
Awesome.
So right out of the gate, I was like, hey, we don't have to take the money we're making to buy tickets. He's like hooking it up. So right out of the gate, we were like floor seats, 8th row.
Oh my God.
Backstage passes. We went backstage right after the show. We met him. He let us do this every night after their shows. It got to a point where it was known we would just walk back there and hang out. His whole crew, we'd start going back there. They're like, it's these guys. All right, he's back through there. And so we kind of met the other members of the band that way.
Goosebumps.
And then this is my favorite band since I was 16.
Oh my God.
And now here we are in their world, and maybe because of the business that we're in, of entertainment in general, the illusion of things being magical behind the curtain, we already know that's not what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you already know, everyone's people, and behind the curtain, everyone's just doing a job.
Yeah.
And so going into it, I was like, I hope that's what this is.
Yeah.
And going behind the curtain, I was like, oh yeah, these are 4 dads who are very good at their band.
Yeah.
And they're just very normal,
Right.
very nice. There's no ego at all about how successful they are. They even thanked me for going on Conan and talking about their band.
What?
And I was like, you're welcome, but you do sell out 20,000 seats. I don't know if you need me. I think you're doing great.
But it's fucking funny because Nick used to be my opening act for many years, and he would go on and on about the band Tool.
Yeah.
Right? How they're up there in terms of the Beatles and whatnot, right? And in my mind, I'm like, there's no way. And so I don't have a CD player. I buy everything off of fucking iTunes and shit.
Yeah.
Right? And so I didn't know anything about Tool. So I would Google it. Go to iTunes Tool, and two things would come up, and they were songs about hammers and, you know what I mean? Not the band Tool, but I would listen to it, preview it. The hammer goes like this, and the nail, you know what I mean? All that.
You were listening to children's songs?
Yeah, I was.
You're like, why does he love this band? This is ridiculous.
I didn't like it. And then what happened was...
The screwdriver says to the hammer, hey. Why does he like this? The Beatles? He thinks this is the Beatles.
Yeah. So then what happened was, as soon as they put their stuff online, right, I bought all the albums.
Yeah.
And I listened to them from beginning to end. And let me tell you something.
You truly did do that.
I swear to God.
I love that you did that.
Listening to it, and in the beginning, once you start listening, I think I didn't start with the first album. I think I started with the newest one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
From beginning to end.
Yeah.
And it's like a journey.
Yeah.
But I also love... I grew up with Metallica. I like harder stuff as well.
Yes.
But this is a fusion between that and something artistic.
And Pink Floyd.
Yes.
And Led Zeppelin. It's psychedelic,
yeah.
But it's heavier. But it's not metal. It's heavier, but it's not metal to me.
It's not metal. No.
Yeah.
But when it gets hard,
yeah.
You can feel it in your fucking bones.
Yes.
You know how it builds?
Yes.
In the beginning, it's
the
some
best.
sort of noise.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's it builds, and they're usually... Papa only likes 2-minute songs. 2 minutes, I'm out. That's why I never liked the Grateful Dead. right? I don't want anyone to jam in G minor.
For 21 minutes?
For 50 minutes. I got shit to do, right? But with fucking Tool, so in my mind, and I'm saying this right now, in my mind, they're probably in my top 10 of all time. And for me to
that's great.
know nothing about them and to have them in the mix of the Velvet Underground.
Yeah.
I love Roxy music. I love the Beatles, Stones, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Pixies. They're in that now, in my head. And it's so, and imagine not ever seeing a Tarantino movie and being able to see all 8 of them.
Right, yeah.
Right? That's what it feels like.
Yeah. Well, there's a depth to it. I mean, those bands that you're naming, none of them were making music to sell records. They were like, no, this is what we make. Yeah. And if people like it, then they end up liking it. And that's what I love about Tool. Like, to make 10-minute songs from where they're coming from, people will be like, no, make them 3 minutes. Like, make it radio friendly. Not that that's even a thing anymore, but they're not like that. They're like, no, the natural progression of the song, that's just how long this has to end up being. And they aren't wasting your time because it doesn't feel like 10 minutes.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Remember when Chicago rebelled against that song? It was an Inspiration. And so they had like a radio-friendly version. But if you listen to the whole thing, there's like a 7-minute that has completely unrelated to the ballad that was just sung.
Yeah.
You play it all the time.
I know. I love it because it's so terrible.
Which song was it? Was it?
It's not For Your Inspiration.
No, it's not. It's the other one.
You're my inspiration. When you love somebody.
That's
Dude,
it's a good song. It's a
Peter
good song.
Cetera. Remember, like, when you thought Peter Cetera, you're like, oh, he's like the lead singer of Chicago. And then you learn about Chicago, and you're like, oh, they had like a badass guitarist lead singer.
Yeah.
Do you know about, like, are you a Chicago fan?
Well, I liked their earlier work, but then they became ballady.
That's because that guy died.
David Foster teamed up with Peter Cetera and like convinced him to say, hey, like, get with the times, make your money with these 3-minute love ballads.
And they did. I will say they did crush those ballads.
They did.
But that's not the band.
That's not
that
their
they
sound
were.
at all.
It's like
Their lead singer had a like scruffier voice, and he was a badass guitarist.
Yeah, it's like if Anthony Kiedis died, and they go call Yanni, or call.
I love Yanni. I love Yanni.
I know, but it just would fuck
Just
up.
now you went, oh my god, Yanni with RHCP. Oh fuck. That's the fusion. Now that's fusion.
We were also talking about how like comics when we meet, they're so accessible, right?
Yes.
Like, we were out yesterday. I went to Sebastian Maniscalco's